Deiondra Sanders, the daughter of legendary Deion Sanders, is pregnant after battling fibroids and infertility. We're here to root her on and so excited about her joining us tonight to share her story. So, first of all, take a moment right now. Share this with those who you know are battling fibroids, infertility, your sisters, your niece, your aunties, because this is information that is vital for all of our sisters out there, because up to 90% of us battle this issue, and it affects so much of our lives, including our desire to be parents. So share and stay tuned. And right now, let me first of all welcome you to Detox Living, where we bring you tips, truths, and testimonials to power your toxic-free living. I am your host, Coach Gessie. I am actually a fibroid survivor turned health activist and founder of the DetoxNow.com, a holistic health platform that supports you in education and supplements that help combat obesity, chronic disease, reproductive issues, as well as many other issues that lead to lower life expectancy rates. So welcome me now in having Deiondra join us. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
I was like, how do I get in?
You got it, girl. Listen, technology, sometimes IG don't be letting us be great. So I'm happy. I'm happy right now.
Okay. Good.
Can you see me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to use your story to encourage and to inspire others. You know, for me, I was very, I know many of you are new here, so I just want you to understand why I was very moved by your story when you shared it, Deiondra. Yeah, I was very moved because, you know, I'm a fibroid survivor first. I battled fibroids for 14 years, and those fibroids caused infertility for 10 years. I ended up having 5 fibroid surgeries and 5 in vitro fertilization cycles because fibroids caused so much scarring that they said there was no way I could conceive naturally. And a miscarriage. I know, you know, too many of us know this pain too well. And this one really at 21 weeks, my maternal fetal medicine doctor looked at me across the table and said, Mrs. Thompson, you might want to consider terminating this pregnancy because this pregnancy, which had taken me 10 years to achieve, I had just had a myomectomy, the third one less than a year before, but the fibroids that remained, and I know you shared how, even though you had a myomectomy, they weren't able to take out all the fibroids when they had the surgery, right?
Yes.
So the fibroids that remain were now fighting my baby for life, literally.
Wow.
And they said to me, the baby is losing the battle because the baby's not growing. And I said, whoa, I'm not terminating this pregnancy. I'm getting so emotional right now. I'm not terminating this pregnancy that took us 10 years to accomplish. I said, I believe in a miracle working God, right? So when you shared that story about the fibroids that remain, I was like, oh my God, you know, first of all, I wanted to encourage you. I posted about it and I said, God, you know, I just prayed for you. And I know I wanted to help you. However, we've helped so many women with fibroids to carry their babies to full term, to eliminate the fibroids before, to keep those fibroids in check during pregnancy. So I didn't know how God was going to connect us. But when I posted, you commented, then we hopped on FaceTime for a consultation.
Yeah.
And here we are today, right?
Yes, we are here today.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's hear about your story. I have to quote what you shared so vulnerably. You know, you talked about the 7 fibroids that remain, and you said, I am having this baby. I have to quote it the way you said it. You said, I'm having this baby for the 4 myomectomy surgeries I have had. I'm having my baby for all the years I stayed on birth control, even though it gave me breast tumors. I'm having my baby for all the doctors that told me I wouldn't make it out the first trimester. I'm having my baby for the 7 current fibroids that surround my uterus to this day. I'm having a baby for all the high-risk moms that were scared every day thinking they would miscarry. Ooh, I remember those days, girl. And I'm keeping my baby for the 3 months I continued to bleed every day after I found out I was pregnant. I'm having this baby to give hope to all the other women that may be in this situation. No matter what doctors say, God has the final say. The miracle growing in me is not just a coincidence, but a divine blessing. Your words, they called me, girl. They called me to support you. It called me to support you. So share with us, how are you doing right now, sis? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm actually on bed rest now.
I know.
Unfortunately, they said my cervix is opening up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, until I have the clearage surgery next week.
Cerclage
surgery next week. Yeah, they said I got to sit my butt down.
Yeah. Why aren't you doing this thing with your legs up? You need to be like this.
Yes, no, I know. I was like, if I answer on the couch, would that be too much?
Girl, you
like,
better get on that
couch. I was like, I'll at least sit at the table. But yeah, so other than that, I'm doing really good. Like when they told me that, I was a bit nervous because my whole thing was getting to the second trimester. Because when I got to the second trimester, I asked the doctors like, "Oh, am I clear now? Am I clear?" Like, and they was like, "Well, no, it's really when you get to 23 weeks." That if you were to have a preterm baby, that a baby can survive on 23 weeks. So
how many weeks are you now?
I'm at like almost 21. Okay. So I'm like, okay.
Let me tell you something. 21, remember, so 2 weeks later, 5 weeks later, I was hospitalized. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because the baby, again, the baby had a condition called absence of blood flow, fetal growth restriction. The baby's not growing because the fibroids are taking all the blood supply.
Oh, okay.
And what started happening, what happened was that they literally said, now the blood flow is pulling away from the baby. We're going to have to hospitalize you. And they told me, we don't even expect you to have more than 72 hours when this happens, right?
Oh, wow.
So, but the prayer warriors all around the world, to the tune of 8 more weeks, Deiondra, we have.
Oh, that's amazing.
So right now, we're going to stand in faith with you right now.
Amen.
All right? We are going to stand in faith with you for each and every hour, for each and every minute, for each and every day for this miracle. All right?
I receive it. I know my baby has been growing properly though. Thank goodness.
Good. That means that's good. Yeah. Remember we talked about your last checkup.
Good. Yeah.
Share what because the last checkup was they were checking to see if the fibroids were growing during the pregnancy.
Yes.
And what did they say? This was very important.
Thank goodness my fibroids have not been growing. They're still the same. So that's a blessing because they said since they're kind of the same, then they shouldn't be that much of an issue. The only thing is I carried very low and it kind of hurt. Sometimes I've already started wearing my mommy band.
Girl, you better wear that mommy band.
Yeah, I've been definitely wearing my mommy band because they said it's going to be a lot lower because my fibroids. But other than that, my baby has been doing really good. It's just right now my cervix is kind of opening. So that's what they want to keep closed. But they said it's growing healthy. All the limbs and everything is growing properly.
I saw them long hands.
Yes.
in your sonogram. Oh no, you might have a football player.
I don't know. We just gonna have to see. Football player or singer, we'll have to see.
Whatever, right? So one of the things we talked about is, balancing your hormones, making sure that we are helping keep those fibroids in check. I sent you our pre and postnatal kit. Yes. I think you finally got the kit.
Know. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Excellent. So we can keep those balanced hormones. And the other thing is going to be staying very much at rest and keeping yourself, your legs up, not to turn it, taken down, the travel. Really, the bed rest is really important. This time
it's hard for me to sit down.
Girl.
But after they was like,
wait, okay, let's add the line. I'm doing this for me. Hold on, because you did it for all these other reasons.
I know. But now once they told me, like, okay, the complications until I get the what is it called again?
Cerclage. Okay, so it's stitching your cervix. Now, ask your doctor when you go back, when you ask them if because of how low the pregnancy, should they do a double stitch?
Okay.
Ask them that, okay? Because sometimes they'll do a single stitch and then, then they go back and say, yeah, somebody said they had that. Did you have a double stitch or a single stitch, sis, Denise? And then they'll say, it looks like you may need another one stitch. So ask that if you should have a double stitch. And just because sometimes people are more conservative and maybe you need them. She said cervical cerclage. She had it. And staying off your feet.
That's what I've been doing.
Because think about it, it's a gravity thing.
And that's exactly what they said. Like, it's a gravity thing. That's why I can't fly or nothing like that.
Yes.
It was like, you need to be laying on the couch, not doing nothing until we're able to, stitch you up. And I was like, okay. I see, is there any risk? I asked them about the risk. They said that it wasn't any real risk, honestly, with it, other than like the regular surgical risk that they have. But it's more helpful than the slight risks that come with the surgeries.
Well, and also with your cervix opening up.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want that. So, and the other thing is, I've seen where they've actually had women inverted, because they just needed to, like, literally it's like on a bed where their feet are up, So we don't want you to have to get there. If you get there, you can do what you got to do. But the key thing is stay at rest. Literally try to put yourself, like you said, on the couch. Binge watch some good shows, read some books, write your bestseller, girl. Write your book.
Yes, that's what I've been doing. Just watching TV sermons and just sleep, honestly. So
rest is it's a good thing, So, where in terms of, we talked about just things to help with your hormonal balance. Like, what have you been doing in terms of de-stressing as well, making sure like your environment supports you and all that kind of stuff?
I feel like I have a very great supportive environment.
Good.
So anything that doesn't really make me feel good, then I'll just like eliminate it. But it's not really that much stuff as of, lately. Yeah. I've been listening to a lot more sermons, scriptures, a lot more, going to
your spirit.
Yeah, to kind of just help me along this walk. So
yeah,
I won't get, because these hormones, it's crazy.
You better take that. Take those supplements, girl.
Yeah, I'm like, a lot. I never thought like I would never do some of the stuff I've done if I wasn't pregnant. So I'm like, everything is just like times 100 now. So I definitely just been trying to like, think positive and just keep myself in a good mental space.
Yeah. What were on your fibroid journey? Let's talk a little. Can we talk a little bit about your fibroid journey and how you got here? So, what was it like? What how old were you when you were diagnosed? What made you get diagnosed? Tell me about your fibroid journey.
Actually, it's okay. My first myomectomy was a surprise and an emergency surgery, actually. I had to be maybe like 23.
Wow.
Somewhere around that age, like 23. I used to always have heavy periods, so I thought it was just like normal. You know, they said I had fibroids, they put me on birth control, but it actually made it worse, so I kind of stopped taking that.
Stop right there, because you just said a mouthful. Number one, she had heavy periods. Nobody should ever have heavy periods. That's a sign
Okay,
of
mine were
hormonal
super
imbalance.
heavy.
I try to educate as we go.
Yes.
No, heavy periods is a sign something is wrong. And usually it's a sign early on that you can make changes and intervention with holistic lifestyle changes before, right? We're talking early on, if we don't ignore them early on. And unfortunately, a lot of times we have them growing up since the time we had our cycles, and we don't realize it could just be because we live in a really fast-paced life, a high-stress life. You know, we eat crazy. There are things that, like for me, I grew up in an environment where I had a very, let's just say, volatile. Like my parents got divorced. I had a lot of horrible. I'm a Caribbean. My food, I ain't eat no vegetables, Deiondra. Like when I say I ain't eat vegetables, I could eat ribs, oxtails every day. And also I had a lot of, let's just say, high stress environments, right? So now looking back, I can see where and how my body started to develop fibroids, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't know. But then you said they put you on birth control, which is like like if you are in a scenario where you are hemorrhaging and you need some hormonal intervention because you're going to die from hemorrhaging, do it temporarily, but then look for lifestyle changes to make the difference.
Yeah.
Because what happened with you when they put you on the birth control?
It just made it worse, and I was just losing like a lot of blood where I became anemic.
Wow.
So I actually had to start going to like a blood specialist to get me back, on track. But the story when I found out how bad they were is one night I was just like really tired, and I had my cousin there. Thank goodness for him, because if he wasn't there, I probably would have died.
Wow.
But I would go to the bathroom and I started bleeding out like blood clots the size of like my fist. And I called my mom and she's like, go to the hospital. I'm like, no, I'm tired. I just want to lay down. I can't even like really go. I'm just going to lay down and stuff like that. Thinking they would stop. So my mom called my cousin that was staying with me, and he actually took me to the hospital. And once I got there, I just kept literally like the size of my fist, blood clots was coming out.
Like hemorrhaging.
So a lot of the doctors didn't know what to do, but my mom knew that the doctor that delivered me actually stayed in Atlanta and was still there. So she came, checked on, said, okay, we have to have emergency surgery.
Wow.
Before I had surgery, I had to have like 5 blood transfusions.
Yeah.
I lost so much.
You lost all that blood. You were severely anemic.
So after that, I went into emergency surgery and I came out, but that was the first time I realized like how bad my fibroids were, because I honestly would have just went to sleep not even knowing, because it just happened one night that they just started like hemorrhaging, and I just didn't know nothing about any of that at that time. So that was my first one.
You know what's crazy? A lot of people don't realize this. Another danger of anemia, because you were severely anemic, obviously, from the low blood count. That low blood count, that severe, it can cause you to go into heart failure.
Yeah.
You can have a heart attack just like that.
Yeah, it was kind of scary because I didn't really know
very
what was
scary
going on.
for you. 22 years old?
Yeah, it was kind of bad. So that was like a couple of years went by. They said they was able to get, the fibroids out. But then I would start going to her office.
Cut you open, or was it robotic? How did they do it?
No, so I have the myomectomy scar already.
They did a C-section.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah. Just over the years, we would keep checking them, and it's like more would keep growing back. And so they tried to put me on birth control, but the few, couple years of that, I actually started to develop like non-cancerous tumors in my breast. So they had to take that out. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do birth control like that, because it's not, for some reason, I had the opposite effect. Like it made me bleed more and cause more issues. So I stopped that. So then I had a bunch of more fibroids come. So we did it again. I was like, well, I already did it once. Let me just,
Now, how old
I
are you?
did it again.
How old are you now at this time?
I don't remember my exact ages, but they were kind of like every few years, honestly.
Wow.
Like my most recent one was not this past December, but the last December. That was my most recent one.
2023, December 2023.
Yes. And that one I had to have because it was one that was like pressing down on my uterus. So that one was kind of painful. So that's why I had decided to have that one. But the more I had, the more they were like, we can't get them all out. We got as many as we can. So just over time, it's just something that I had to, just stay aware of since I was like 23. That's just something I already, knew.
Wow. Did you come to a point where, first of all, so the birth control pumps your body with synthetic hormones that typically, in your case, it sort of saved you in that a lot of people will stay on birth control a long time because it will mask their symptoms, right? So it'll look like, oh, my periods are easy on birth control, right? And then what's happening though in the background is it's because it's masking the symptoms, your body's growing things like more fibroids, endometriosis, thyroid disruption or other issues, because it's it's causing something called estrogen dominance, which is where estrogen becomes dominant in your body as opposed to, in ratio to progesterone, because of the synthetic hormone is how it's pumping your body with it, right?
Yes.
So in your scenario, you didn't stay on it as long as you would have, like Gabrielle Union talks about how she was on it for 20 years and she had no idea that it was causing this thing called adenomyosis, which is like a cousin to fibroids and endometriosis. And so for you though, like the fact it became symptomatic for you in the sense that you started seeing more lumps in your breasts.
Yeah.
And good thing that you were like, you know what? Oh, this ain't gonna work. This is not working. Because some people would just stay on it and then it would cause other issues.
I'm a researcher, a Google researcher. So I would research like a lot of stuff. So I read that if you haven't had kids and stuff like that, birth control is actually very bad for our bodies. And like you said, the stuff that it puts in our bodies. So after that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know. So, and then, but yet and still, what I found is, again, I had 5 fibroid surgeries, right? Because before I knew, before I started this whole, before I started our holistic platform, the DETOX Now, girl, I was like the opposite of holistic anything. Like, first of all, I'm a woman who believes in integrative health, which is use traditional medicine and lifestyle changes and put them together in the right mix that you need for you. I'm not one of these people to say, I'm living on a tree, don't take me to the doctor. No. And I'm not one of those people like, no, I don't believe it's only medication, only doctors. I believe you need both, right? So, but before this, I knew nothing about holistic medicine. I had 10 surgeries at that point, right?
Yeah, wow.
And each time the fibroids kept coming back and I never knew, wait a minute. All they kept saying was, we don't know. But they never reveal, studies that show vitamin D deficiency is connected to fibroids and that nothing about hormone imbalance being connected to fibroids. But then, my story, infertility story was profiled at Essence Magazine. And when it came out, it went viral. And I became a patient advocate where they had me speaking on panels in different places. And every time I was with these GYNs alongside them, they would say, well, we don't know why, but when estrogen is high in the body or you have more hormones, they seem to grow. Okay, so why aren't you associating them with them? Right? So why are you acting like you have no idea what's connected to them? No, you do. You do know some cause and effect factors. The one thing about fibroids is not one thing that causes them. It's called multifactorial. So it can be everything from stress, which is one of the key drivers of fibroids. It helps develop them and grow them. Like in 2014 was one of the most stressful years of my life, and my fibroids tripled in size.
Oh, wow.
Right. So stress is one of the main factors. And then vitamin D deficiency is huge in Black women. We are more prone. In fact, 76% of African Americans are vitamin D deficient because our melanin actually blocks the absorption of the sun. So the sun is how we get vitamin D, and that's why we have to supplement. That's in the prenatal kit. Our D3 supplement is in the prenatal kit for you. It's very important because it helps your body fight tumor. It helps keep those fibroids in check. Okay. As well as inflammation. All right. As well as immunity and all the other things that D3 is important, but that's huge. It's like D3 hormone is the number one hormone the body uses to fight fibroids. Right.
Okay.
And then there's things like, of course, hormone disruption that comes from hormone imbalance. So it's not one thing. And in one woman, they could eat great, have a wonderful diet and all this, but then their stress levels are crazy. So that's what driving their fibroids, or their vitamin D deficiency is terrible. So it's about knowing all the options and all the factors. So I love that you're doing the education, and now you're looking at what can I do to help support me and my miracle. We don't have a name yet, so we're just calling it.
I know, no name yet.
Miracle. We can say baby, miracle baby. So how are you? Yeah, I know you're nervous in terms of it gave you concern about the cerclage, right? But you've been given some key things to do, right? In terms of getting on bed rest, and you're already keeping the stressors down, right? You're not going to travel. You're going to take your supplements, right? You're going to eat some healthy foods. When you're looking, like there's nothing more important than that right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just like a really good feeling now, especially because I have a little Doppler. One of my friends got me a Doppler at home, so I'm like listening to my baby like 24/7.
That's what a gift!
Like, oh my gosh, they moved a centimeter. I'm just like, it's so funny.
That is an amazing gift. Like, so you can
I love it. I love it. So
you can hear the heartbeat. What does it show you?
You can just hear the heartbeat, and it tells you like the heartbeat, the heart rate. So
that's great.
That's like my best friend.
Great.
Other than that, I've really just been taking it easy, just honestly enjoying my pregnancy. I feel like the whole first trimester was very hard for me. So I didn't really, I don't want to say enjoy it because I was blessed to have this baby, but it wasn't ideal of what I would have pictured my pregnancy being, especially just considering I found out super late. So I was like, oh my gosh, is my baby going to be okay? I was drinking in hookah.
Were you when you found out?
Like 6, 7.
Wow. That's not late. Why do you think that's super late?
I mean,
that's super late to this generation.
I'm like, I was going hard. I was going real hard. So I was like, oh my gosh, is my baby going to be okay? Like, I was just like, doing stuff last week. So I was just kind of like nervous. Cause it's like, I always told myself that whenever like I wanted to try to get pregnant, either I was going to have a surrogate or I was going to have to just completely stop like the medicine I take, just everything to try to do it the right way.
Wow.
So for this to like pop up on me, I was like, oh, well, I just did medications yesterday. Is that gonna? So I was just kind of nervous being that, and then me bleeding for the whole, first trimester. It was kind of, I couldn't really do as much stuff as I wanted to, and just my mental space wasn't there. But now since I got the second trimester, it's like everything just snapped like back really good. So I've really just been enjoying it now to the fullest. And I've been in like a way better space, a happy space, and just, really enjoying being pregnant. Like at first one of my friends who had multiple kids would be like, I love being pregnant. And I'm just like, why? I'm sick. I don't feel good. I'm bleeding. The second trimester, I'm like, I love it here.
I love it. So when you were bleeding, because that is scary, right? Bleeding for your first trimester. Did you have more frequent doctor visits? Like, how did you navigate that?
I had pretty frequent doing doctor visits now, also because
of the fibroids.
That, and because my doctor that delivered me is actually my doctor over
Oh my
baby
God,
now.
that's
So
so
she's
awesome.
very like, yeah, so she's very like, protective over
Really
me. So it's
hands-on.
like come in today, check. So while I was bleeding every week, I was going in every week just so they could make sure they still hear the heartbeat.
Yes.
Make sure nothing was happening. Because it was like one time I had to go to the emergency rooms. I bled a lot. So they just made sure like they checked the heartbeat and make sure the baby was still okay. So that was probably weekly, just to kind of, see, more so just to see if my baby was still, the heart beating. So we would do that weekly. Once it got to the second trimester and I kind of stopped bleeding, it was more so on, spread out as far as like the average, routine for doctor visits. Now that my cervix is opening up a little bit, then it'll be back weekly, they said, just so they can make sure once they put the cerclage in or whatnot, they can just make sure. But other than that, it's been pretty cool, and it hasn't been as much as the first trimester.
So when is the cerclage scheduled for?
It was scheduled for yesterday, but I had some complications, so they're gonna do it again. They're gonna try to do it next week. So Thursday, I go back to the doctor.
Thursday. All right, so we're going to be praying about that.
Thank you.
And, in terms of everything, the journey, this walk of faith, because it really is a walk of faith, right? I love that you're building up your spirit, because let me tell you something. I knew when I was sitting across that doctor and he said at 21 weeks, you might want to consider terminating this pregnancy, because right now this pregnancy is about to become dangerous for you and the baby. In my spirit, I knew in my spirit, I was like, nope, that's not the story. That's not this story. And I remember when they hospitalized me, they said, oh, you want to meet with our our neonatal specialist, because they said the baby had no more than 72 hours to stay in my womb, and that she was going to have brain bleeding, and she was going to have something called necrotic gut, and she was going to have all these surgeries, and she wasn't going to make it, right? And all I kept hearing, was I stood on this word from God. I was like, healthy baby, healthy mommy. No, nothing is happening until it's time. No matter how many rushes to labor and delivery we had, I kept focused on that. And that building up my spirit and knowing for myself, that's really what I stood on, right? And I didn't have the tools. Like I didn't have the supplements. I didn't have cerclage, but I did have, prayer warriors all over. So I know that there are people who are hearing you right now who are going to join us, standing in prayer, you got aunties and uncles everywhere right now.
I've just been so thankful and grateful how supportive a lot of people have been. And I didn't really know a lot of people dealt with fibroids until I started talking about it. Then a lot more women have came out, sent me DMs and, saying that they relate to my story. So it's just really, it just makes me happy to see that, I am able to be a light for someone that's in my same situation.
Yeah, no, that's huge, because the biggest thing when my story came out, I was surprised that it was viral. I was like, who do they think I am? I don't know nobody. I'm not a celebrity or nothing, right? But so many were like, they weren't just liking. They were like, oh my God, I had 3 myomectomies. I've had this many miscarriages. They're just sharing their stories.
Yeah.
Because typically speaking, people don't share these stories,
Yeah, I would have not known.
Right. But because you shared it, you gave them permission to be seen and to be heard, and to know that they're not alone, because there are people who are walking this walk with you right now. There are people who maybe they haven't even been able to conceive yet, because, they've struggled. And, for me, we've helped people lower their blood pressure. We just got testimony yesterday about this woman who did our water fast, and she went to her doctor. The doctor said, whoa, what did you do? Her cholesterol is normal. Her blood pressure is normal. All these great things, which is wonderful. But I have a sweet spot for miracle babies and fibroids because of my story. So when we're able to help women have their miracle babies and help them to keep the fibroids in check and help them to even conceive. We had a woman who couldn't conceive for 12 years.
Wow.
And then she did our program and she has 2 miracle babies, you know.
Wow.
So it's a passion to see those stories turn around and to say the fibroids didn't win, right? Yeah. And this is National Infertility Awareness Week and Fibroids Awareness Week. And I'm saying we conquering them both. None of them is winning in this. None of them. So I don't want to keep you too long because I want you to go rest. I wanted to share. I asked you to share. I was very surprised that you even reached out because there's a million people that be probably hitting you up. What made you say, you know what, I'm gonna talk to this chick? Like what? I'm curious.
You just seem very informational on stuff, and like I told you, I'm always a researcher and willing to learn about different stuff. So I have really just enjoyed that, and you was very supportive. So, I mean, now I have nothing but time to be on my phone. So I see quite a lot more stuff than I would want to. But more so just how informational you were, how supportive you were. I was like, well, let me just, hear her out and see, what more she could do or just hear your story as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad. And, we're here for the long haul. We'll be talking more and supporting you. So next week is the cerclage timeline. I saw people hit up in the DM and the comments saying, are you going to have a gender reveal? So
I am. Our gender reveal is actually May 18th. So
mark your calendars.
Yes, I'm so excited. Like, I was team girl and he's team boy, but I think I might be team boy. Like,
what? How did you
I know. I read something the other day that was like, God gives you a girl when he wants you to change something because you have someone watching you, and then God gives you a boy when he wants you to experience true, genuine love. So I was like,
I don't know about
that boy.
I don't know about it. I'm team girl over here. Oh, listen, so my baby girl's right now.
I'm going back and forth. Yeah, I'm going back and forth. He's definitely team boy, but I'm going back and forth between team girl and team boy. But yes, we will be having a gender reveal.
So May 18th, y'all mark your calendars. Let me tell you, it was funny. My so my husband just knew we were having a boy. He just knew it, Deiondra. Like he was calling my little man. Oh, I got my little man on the way. My little man.
That's how he is.
And even when the doctor had said the thing about, terminating the pregnancy, my husband was out of town because he was he had gotten his first executive role with this major Fortune 10 company, and he was traveling in and out of town, working out of town. So he came in the next week and he said, listen, how long does my baby need to be in the womb in order to be healthy? And the doctor said, like 30 weeks. He said, well, my little man, he's going to give you between 32 and 33 weeks.
Oh,
now here's the deal. He has a prophet in him, okay? Because our baby was born between 32 and 33 weeks.
Wow.
It just wasn't a boy.
But not a boy.
And he was fighting it though, because the women around are nurses. Like I kept in mind, they say that, and see if this works for you, but they say that a mother will, like when she's not really thinking about it, like just not think about, just one day she'll just say him or her, and it will be what is really the baby, right? And one day I was just talking, I said, she. I said, whoa. I said, did I just say she? And I don't know.
That's funny because I find myself saying he by accident a lot.
Well,
like I told you, I'm like, no, that's because you say it so much. It's just already in my head, but that is not. But yes, I definitely find myself saying he a lot more by accident.
Well, this is so funny because I have a brother who's having a baby, and I said, are y'all gonna wait to find out? He said, this is 2024. We're not waiting to the birth to find out. I said, I guess so. Everybody's gonna do. They want to find out. It's like the surprise is we'll be ready when the baby comes. I see people saying team girl. Let's see y'all vote. What y'all saying out here? I got team boys. Somebody said team boys. Somebody said team girl. A lot of team girl. Oh no, it's a mix, girl. Oh, it's a lot of
mix. I feel like the more I post my stomach to, more people are like, oh, that's a boy, that's a girl. So me and him are always comparing like what a boy and girl stomach looks like.
Well, they say a girl is lower, but right? Don't they say the girl is lower?
Well, actually, I'm not sure, but I know I'm just like, no, babe, that's not it. So I know people notice my stomach and say different things also. So I'm just very excited to see what it is. I mean, I'm just happy I'm having a healthy baby, but
that's it.
That's
what we standing on. I just posted a comment to one of you. I said, the business we standing on is healthy baby and healthy mommy. Okay.
Yes.
Came out of Black Maternal Health Week. We healthy baby and healthy mommy. And in fact, I wanted to just share this one thing is, I know you have is it a Black female doctor who delivered you?
Yes.
So one of the things I've learned is that even if you have a great Black, obstetrician, there are a lot of other team members that interact with you, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the good conversations to have with your OB, and I highly recommend having this conversation at the next time you meet, is given the Black maternal mortality crisis and the racism that is laced in the system, I know that you're on my side. Mm-hmm. Let's build a plan for us to determine how we can make sure that we're factoring in where racism could play a role. Okay. Very important, because a lot of times people don't even, they even make something can happen. And then the person who was supposed to deliver them, it ends up being someone else. Right. And because they haven't talked through all that, they haven't had, okay, who's allowed to be the backup? Like what could it look like? If this looks like, what could we do? So unfortunately, I hate the fact that we have to advocate for ourselves as Black women, post, during pregnancy, all of that. But one of the ways we can help ourselves is saying, you know what, we know that there's medical bias and racism in the system that takes too many mothers' lives. What are we doing about it? How are we planning with that in mind? And that a good doctor is going to look at you and like, you know what? Let's look at that in detail. Let's actually talk through that. Look at the system where it may be present so that we can insulate and protect this beautiful miracle baby and mommy. So that's the one thing I would recommend.
Okay, I definitely will ask that.
Yeah,
I'll ask that because I know I printed out this sheet for a birth plan.
Yeah. Are you going to have a doula and a midwife present?
People have been asking me about a doula. I'm not really sure. Like, I think I need to do more research on what a doula actually does.
So I can tell you. So a doula is a non-clinical, meaning not a licensed medical professional, but someone who is very, very versed in everything that can happen in a birth, right? And is going to be there to advocate as you, represent you, and support you and your partner, if the partner is there, through every phase of the pregnancy, including and during labor, delivery. Okay. And a lot of times it's because when you're going through the actual birthing process, there are things you may not know. You know what? I've seen this before. She needs this kind of support. Okay. And again, the good thing is you have the doctor that delivered you. But again, what if that doctor's not on site? What if that that person cannot be omnipresent at all times, right? So that doula is the person who basically safeguards and represents you at all times, considering all those factors, so you can have more peace and more rest. Okay. All right. So
I need to find like a holistic one then.
Yes, I highly recommend. And what I can do is I can talk to a couple of people in terms of who would recommend. In fact, I don't know if you're familiar with, there's an app called Earth, IRTH. I'm actually on their advisory committee. It's for birth without the B for bias. Okay. Because Bias is baked into the system. All right. It's baked into the system of medicine. So what the Earth app does is like Yelp. Are you familiar with Yelp?
Yes.
Right?
Love Yelp.
Okay, so it's like Yelp, but for birthing people to get ratings and reviews from doctors, OBGYNs, doulas, as well as hospitals and pediatricians around what kind of care Black and brown people are receiving. Okay.
Okay.
So I highly recommend you download the Earth app, IRTH. I'll send you the link to look at what doctors, in terms of doulas, what pediatricians, what hospitals are recommended that Black and brown people had great experiences with through their birth. And you're going to learn a lot of things that will help empower your journey, because a lot of times when you see these doctor reviews, they don't include, oh, she didn't listen to my pain. She dismissed my pain. She dismissed my symptoms, right? Because a lot of times those rating reviews are about white women's experiences. They're not about Black and brown women's experiences. And the way that we protect our story and ensure healthy outcomes for baby and mommy is that we get access to all the living information, the information from people who are alive, right? Yeah. Like people who will tell you, no, that person is biased. That person treated me like this, like knowing all that, right? And again, I know you love your OB, but it's not just about your OB. Your OB is not the be all and end all of your team, right?
Yeah.
So having that information is really important. And a good doula, which again, we have the Earth Ambassador support team that has doulas in Atlanta. Okay. So I'm going to look into that for you and send you some recommendations. All right. Okay.
Thank you. As long as they're a holistic one, because we'll talk outside, but I've been researching some stuff about like shots and all that. All that kind of stuff. So we're definitely gonna have to talk outside of this. But I definitely have been like thinking about that kind of stuff now and knowing that a lot of stuff that you don't have to agree to.
That's right.
So, but we'll save that for another conversation.
No, absolutely.
Questions, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. So those are key things I want to make sure we're looking at for your plan, right? So I'll give you that information offline. But if you are birthing a person who's going through on your, and it's actually for pediatricians too. So like if you have a young kid up to 1 year old, there are so many things that happen to us during pregnancy, during birth, right after birth, and with our children up into that first year. Yeah. And so we have to have our own backs and protect and advocate for ourselves, right? And that doesn't happen if we act like we're in la la land and there's nothing to be concerned about. No, we have to be vital and we have to be on guard and say, okay, you know what? We're going to call it for what it is. And we're going to make a plan based on that and look around it, right? And work around it. So right there, I've given you plenty of information. I just want you to know that you are covered in prayer. You are covered in love.
Thank you.
You and your miracle, and we are excited. Y'all heard about the May 18th gender reveal.
Yes.
Mark your calendars and the cerclage next. Y'all better be praying with me, right? That the procedure, you're going to ask about whether or not it should be a double stitch.
Yes.
Right. And if there's anything else, I'm here, just a text away. And, it's about accessing the support systems and the network we have to help you.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it because all this is new to me. So it's good to have people that are very wise in this, kind of information and don't mind when I ask questions.
Absolutely, girl. Questions are welcome. Very important. All right, so go lay down.
I am
put those
now.
Feet up. Put those feet up. All right. Put those feet up. Snap your fingers and let people serve you.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome, my dear. All right. Take care. So I'm gonna invite you to collab on the replay.
Okay.
Because people want to do the replay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Take the time to get to know what you don't know, because There are people here to support you. If you are battling fibroids, wrestling and navigating through infertility, you just want to live a healthier life. You're dealing with pain. You shouldn't have painful periods. You shouldn't have heavy periods. You shouldn't have pain when you wake up in the morning. That's inflammation. Whatever you are navigating, we want you to know you are not alone. Please head over to thedetoxnow.com. The link is in my bio if you are an IG. If you're not, it's THEDETOX now.com, thedetoxnow.com, and take our free quiz to start if you want some direction. It will help you know what we recommend for you. And then we also have free consultations every week. We have free consultations twice a week available to help you determine and work with you to determine the right plan for you, for your health, because you deserve vibrant and abundant health. You heard me? All right. This is Coach Gessie. I love you, and I'm excited about helping you know better, do better, and live better. Goodbye.